coming up a goal short or just a couple of inches wide. But what a difference a year can make. In 1989, the new look Wings have emerged as the league's highest scoring franchise at nearly 16 goals a game. They've been bolstered by the acquisition of former All-American Brad Kotz. Kotz is the league leader in goals and points and features one of the most deadly and accurate shots in all of lacrosse. He joins veteran Paul French, who scored 5 goals in the Spectrum opener. This afternoon, Kotz, French, and company lead the Philadelphia Wings in a battle for playoff position against the Baltimore Thunder. Coming up next. And welcome to a historic afternoon here at the Spectrum. For the first time ever, Prism presents live Major Indoor Lacrosse. Hello, everybody. I'm Larry Rosen, joined by the coach, Tony Seaman. It's Philadelphia against Baltimore in an interesting irony early on. Philadelphia not a traditional hotbed of lacrosse, but Baltimore is, yet Philadelphia the more successful franchise.
I think in Baltimore we have the problem of tradition. The people there just don't want to give it a try. The box game is marketed to be more violent, the fighting and so forth, and the traditionalist doesn't want to hear that, so he's not coming out to buy the ticket. Philadelphia, they're open to the world of lacrosse. They said, we'll give it a try. They love it.
They do indeed. The big crowds have been showing up regularly here at the Spectrum. Of course, Philadelphia has emerged as the league leader in goals as a team based on the league leader as an individual, Brad Kotz. What an acquisition.
I hate to say we called it, but we did. 3 weeks ago, we said that Brad Kotz was going to be the real key to this team. He can put the ball home. He's the best shooter that I've ever seen play the game, and he's proven to be that as the league leader.
Philadelphia has a couple of other major finishers as well. Paul French had 5 in the Spectrum debut. He had a bad year last year with the injuries and the like. What's the difference for him?
I think it's that he has other people who can carry the ball and get the job done outside and then get him the ball to finish, and that's where Paul's real success is.
Of course, offense is the #1 tool of this game, but goaltending becomes more and more key. Philadelphia has had some inconsistency between the pipes.
It was a big question mark for Coach Dave Evans coming into the season. 3 games, they've had 2 games of great goaltending and 1 game of not so good, and they lose it. This is a big test today to see if he's going to rebound. Kevin Bilger's got to get the job done.
Ready to go?
Ready to go.
2 teams are as well. We'll come back with the starting lineups and more in a moment. Stay tuned for Live Lacrosse next. Major Indoor Lacrosse on Prism is brought to you by Coors Light, the official beer of Major Indoor Lacrosse. It's the right beer now. By US Air. Why the USA on US Air. By the Philadelphia Airport Hilton Hotel, headquarters of the Philadelphia Wings. By SGX. When you think lacrosse, think SGX. And by Gold Medal Sporting Goods. With 10 convenient locations, it's the official sporting goods store of the Wings. And to coin a phrase, you are looking live at the Spectrum. First time we can say that for Major Indoor Lacrosse. Larry Rosen with the head coach from the University of Pennsylvania, Tony Seaman, awaiting the Wings and the Baltimore Thunder. And a look at the starters. Recognizable names for Philadelphia: John Tucker, Scott Gabrielson, Manley Free, Durgill, the face-off expert, and Kevin Bilger. We'll tell you more about Baltimore lines as we go. In terms of those not in uniform today, Baltimore missing one of their top people. We'll tell you about theirs. Philadelphia, Scott Carruthers had a big first game for Philadelphia here on Prism. And Mark Michello, the backup goalkeeper. Meantime, if you look down the list of Butch Marino, the leading scorer for Baltimore, unable to make it today due to a business commitment down in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's got to hurt. When last these 2 teams got together, Brad Kotz put 5 goals on the board. A 14-13 Wings victory over the Thunder. And Tony, there have been an awful lot of 1-goal games for these Thunder teams.
Boy, sure have. They're 2-3, and they haven't either won by a goal every game or lost by a goal every game. So it's exciting, and everybody who's sitting out there watching today is going to be in for a great, great box lacrosse game.
And as they have the ceremonial first shot on goal, we'll tell you about the 2 goalkeepers. That is Tom McClellan, and a one-time All-American out of Loyola University. He'll split time with Tom Manos at the other end. Well, that's the guy with all the pressure, Kevin Bilger.
Going back to Tom McClellan, an All-American from Loyola, was up here at Franklin Field last year in May to play against the University of Pennsylvania as the goalie for Loyola College. Carried them to an incredibly successful 12-3 season and to the quarterfinals of the NCAA Division I playoffs. So he'll give an outstanding job. And here we go, Larry.
2 of the best face-off men in all of lacrosse, Shaw and Durgill, and we're underway. First few minutes of these, usually an awful lot of fun as everybody gets the legs on track. And possession belongs to Baltimore. Both teams, Tony, believe faceoffs are such a key aspect. As we were speaking with both coaching staffs before the game, that an early, sophisticated key to look for.
Yes, and we have two of the finest of the game. Steve Shaw, a Delaware graduate, reputedly known throughout the country as a great face-off expert, and Billy Durgel, recruited by the Wings this year specifically for that purpose, and has just been tremendously successful so far this year.
45-second shot clock is down to single digits. That is Smith working the left wing, left to right. Got to have to get something off as the shot clock's in single digits. Bilger makes the first stop.
And boy, does that feel good for Kevin Bilger. Hit me, baby. Now I'm in the game.
John Tucker's got Manley moving. Pass goes past him. There's an opening and a score. Just that quickly, Scotty Gabrielson.
He finished up here 2 weeks ago with the last goal of the evening. We commented that his father went crazy. His father's down there somewhere by the face-off circle yelling now. What it was a Tucker feed over top, and Gabrielson picked up the rebound and jammed it home.
And the key was the way in which he scooped up the ground ball.
Two-handed, fundamentally sound. Great bounce shot. He's up high. Goalie comes up to try to stop the high shot. Scott bounces it by him low.
Scott, a rookie from Princeton High School, was the 9th pick by the Wings in the expansion draft, paying dividends. So Philadelphia scores exactly 1 minute in.
Great picture by our cameraman right there. Illegal face-off posture by Shaw. His foot is across the line. The ref doesn't see it. Shaw gets away with it. Shaw wins the face-off.
And he does not get away with it, as the line judge on the back had the call. Good retinas out of Coach Seaman, as the left foot was indeed in offensive territory. Philadelphia likes to play, Tony, as much transition as possible. That's the new look this year. Here we see him in their half-court set.
And here's the master, Mr. Tucker.
Going to go it alone. Tucker tries to beat McClellan low. And McClellan scoops. Yeah, Baltimore coaching staff say that they're maybe a step quicker as an overall squad than they were a year ago. There's Wilson working the left wing.
Yeah, certainly. Baltimore last year was very, very slow team speed. And they recruited and drafted this year to try to improve upon that and have done a real nice job. They've got 14 new names on their total roster, 7 of them playing here today.
Sewell tries a little underhand scooper, and he is buried by Gabrielson. And back comes Philadelphia. An open left wing. Manley's got him. French. No, that's Ricky Freed, beaten by McClellan. Loose ball in front. Freed couldn't quite scoop the grounder. And the bodies begin to fly.
I think the Thunder are very, very conscious of Brad Kotz today. And I think they're going to work him over when he does enter the field. And they don't want to let him score or be open. They want to do everything they can do to put as much pressure on him all the time. Everybody in the locker room that we talked to before the game on the Thunder said, we got to stop Brad Kotz.
And there is Kotz across the top to Andy Wilson, the fine acquisition for Philadelphia. Also, number 26 on the far left wing is Chris Dent, making his first Spectrum appearance. What do we know about Chris?
Chris Dent is an All-American from Penn State, comes from Lower Marion.
There goes Brad Kotz with an isolation move. Notice how McClellan seemed to hold his ground.
Yeah, that's a really good comment, Larry. I noticed that on the first shot just before that he stopped, too. His first save of the day against Freed. You've really got to change everything you do from the field game to the box game when you play the goal.
Well, there was an easy rebound in front for D'Arcangelo, but couldn't scoop it up. That was number 7, and Bilger beats him to the loose one. We played about 3.5 minutes live from the Spectrum. So glad you're with us. Quite a vocal crowd, as always, for Major Indoor Lacrosse. Kotz at the top. That is Chris Dent.
They're really happy with him the last 3 weeks in practice. They say he's really coming along, and they expect some big things out of him.
Wilson, the cutter, catch and fire in one motion. Tried the short hop. And Dent's got the loose one. Tough stop and go for Chris Dent. Bad giveaway by McClellan, but he's bailed out by D'Arcangelo. And the action intensifies along the boards where D'Arcangelo comes out with it. One of the more recognizable names in indoor lacrosse.
3 times he's been a representative of the United States in the World Games. He's the old-timer. This is his first game this year that he's been activated for. He'll give you a whole lot of offense. He says he's not in great shape.
The coaching staff, led by John Stewart of Baltimore, calls his 3 lines Larry, Moe, and Curley. This is the Larry line. And, Tony, they're setting up deep on the perimeter. Not much action traffic-wise in front of Bilger.
Now, they're playing real good defense, too, the Wings.
Kind of a weak shot.
Keeping them really outside and making them use a lot of the clock, the shooting clock, before they even get an offense really running. So it's a good job so far by Coach Dave Evans and his Philadelphia Wings.
And we've got a push in the rear, which will lead to a Philadelphia possession. Quickly comes the long-haired one, McGeady, but his weak pass for Lou Delegati. Lou, an early crowd favorite in Philadelphia. Number 77 with the heavily braced left knee. And this is officially the third line, led by DeSico. There's Mark, number 25, the co-captain. More of a defensive-minded expert. And French is stripped. And Jim Holtzkamp come up with it. It's a 2-on-2 with Pat Welsh on the right wing, Smith on the left. And he's buried by McGeady. A double team act on the corner, but the loose one belongs to Baltimore. Looking for a cutter. Jenkins was alone, couldn't get it to him. And here in the open court comes Johnny Conley. The trailer's DeSico, and the right foot gets a piece of that from McClellan. And the scoop belongs to Rick Sewell.
Rick Sewell's the old-timer on this club. He gives you a lot of strength, decent speed. Not a great offensive player, but a real tough defensive player. Gives you a little bit of everything.
And look at the spread set they start with, Tony. Wide open, and they screen off it.
Screen off it, looking for the offside, and people coming off that. They rarely ever pick for the ball. See a lot going on away from the ball.
Good little movement by Bilger to stop the Nostrand shot, which hits him in the midsection. And Dave Evans is the head coach of Philadelphia, defensive-minded coach, has to be very happy. Virtually no legitimate opportunities through the first 7 minutes for Baltimore.
Don't see as much transition right now as we saw in the opener here 3 weeks ago. So I think Evans is going to want them to pick up the pace, especially on substitutions and getting people in and out.
One-on-one move comes from Scott Gabrielson. It's wide, gets his own rebound, and looks for a cutter. And a little bit of standing around going on offensively. Freed's going to go one-on-one on Sewell, takes the cross-check and fires low and wide. And a souvenir. And again, the pace is kind of lacking, not a whole lot of tempo.
They slow down. The Thunder play that way. They're going to try to keep it a little bit slower, if at all possible. I think the Wings have a little bit more team speed.
One-on-one move by Tim Welch. Good double team, though, by Gabrielson. And that's an unusual little toss.
That's called a buddy pass.
You throw it up in the air and hope a buddy catches it?
Yeah, and then he usually gets killed as he does. The Welsh brothers, Tim and Pat, both All-Americans from the University of North Carolina. This is their first year in the league, rookie seasons.
They're not playing on the same line, though. Tim on the Mo line, Pat on the Larry line for Coach Stewart. Shot clock down to 4 as Sweet goes to make his move. Behind, there's going to be a violation. 45-second clock violation.
Yeah, here's a real good opportunity to get some transition. And there it is, a 2-on-1.
Freed has Mark Hahn. Hahn! Oh, he's beaten between the legs by McClellan. Mark Hahn was the first man on the field this morning when I came in to see how the carpet looked. And he's been another good addition.
He's always the closest to the goal, too, Larry. He's a great cherry picker. He's known for it, and he does it better than anybody.
He's 32 years old, one of the senior citizens. Good set offense here. The shovel pass down low.
Here's another break. Real good opportunity upfield.
Oh, and Mark Hahn just couldn't quite catch it. And Brad caught the intercept. Here's Brad, 2-on-3. Stops, looks for some help. And again, strange to see 9 minutes or so at such a mellow pace.
Yes, the Thunder wants to really concentrate on Cox and keep him, not give him much time, but he's so quick that it's so hard to really just shut him off or to stay real close to him. He's just got such great quickness.
Here's D'Arcangelo, the jab step, 40 feet out. Has a cutter, but good job traffic-wise inside. Quick turnaround shot by Chuck Muir. And Bilger did well to see that. Delegati's in front of Kotz. Resch is open, but Kotz is double teamed. And Tony doing a good job digging it out, 34. But it's left for D'Arcangelo.
And Tony certainly known, Tony Resch known for his defensive ability. And there we see some real good forechecking, as hockey would call it, in the defensive end.
And now the full line change. Very much a straight man-to-man defensive set for Philadelphia, Tony. Are they doing a lot of jump switching and helping?
Yeah, they'll definitely switch, and they'll come in. There's a place in the carpet that's real loose. Right in the
Oh, no, there's an easy one. As Bilger committed to Peter Jenkins, the loose ball was left for Steve Shaw, and the face-off expert gets the tying goal.
Yeah. Bilger tries to come out here and get the ball. See, his man got it and tried to put it on the ground for him, and not seeing the Thunder from behind, came up. Jenkins knocks it over on the ground to the other player, who puts it home.
So we are now tied at 1. 9 minutes or so, 9.5 gone by. Live lacrosse on Prism. Well, the Thunder has not gotten much out of their set offense, but they get a loose ball and put it away.
Yeah, it was put back there on the ground to Bilger, and they didn't see Jenkins behind, and he came around and kept it alive, and the Thunder were able to pick it up and put it home.
Look at the team comparisons. Obviously, Philadelphia has scored significantly more goals, and Baltimore the most penalized team. How about Philadelphia, the least penalized team in the league?
Yeah, they're laying off the penalties, and that's great if you can still play good defense and stay out of that penalty situation. I think the most impressive thing about the Wings this year is their percentage of shots on goal, the actual number of shots that they've been putting between the 4x4, and that's so important, and that's why they lead the league in goals scored.
And a little bit of carpet repair work. The crew chief is the president of the league, Chris Fritz, down to our left. There's Chris, the father of the indoor lacrosse game.
Yeah, we saw 2 or 3 players, 2 defensive players for the Wings and a couple offensive players for the Thunder at that end. That is the offensive end of the Thunders this period. And, we saw them fall on that carpet as it came up off the ice. So they're trying to get it down now. That's really a dangerous situation that they're trying to correct.
And a reminder that today is Pal Day here with the Philadelphia Wings. Prism is pleased to stand behind the crucial work of this fine organization, which provides opportunities and educational opportunities for some 12,000 youngsters in PAL centers around Philadelphia. Your support will ensure the success of PAL programs. Send your tax-deductible contributions to PAL, Belgrade and Clearfield Streets, Philadelphia 19134. Think of this, it costs $210 a day to keep a young person in a detention center and only 26 cents a day to keep a youngster in PAL. And Prism is pleased to be a corporate sponsor of the Police Athletic League. Please join in. And fan club president Pat Inamorano and his wife gave birth to a lovely little girl on the 2nd of February. Her name is Christine Francis. And congratulations to Pat. What an active fan club. We get more literature from the fan club than from the league in doing our homework for these games. How about a sense of the early 10 minutes or so of action, Tony?
I don't think this is a tempo right now that the Wings really want to play the whole game under. They want to push the ball more, use some more of their team speed, try to get some more good shots. Although their shots have been excellent ones, and I think McClellan has come up big here after the first goal that was scored on him. He made 3 real nice saves in close. Hahn missed 2 cherry pickers, and that's not like Mark. Mark was the high scorer for the Baltimore Thunder 1 year ago. So he certainly would like to pay back his old teammates and his old franchise if it's possible.
And we've got a face-off violation. Durgel and Shaw with some angry words. And that's as important a matchup as we'll have all day long.
Yeah, I've heard some real interesting comments down in the locker room before the game. Shaw lost quite a few face-offs to Durgel the first time these two teams played, and was not happy, got frustrated, and started going for Durgel's ankles with his stick after the face-off and things like that. And I think Durgel's aware of that today, and he's not going to let Shaw get away with that. And right there was the first time. They're going to go head-to-head all day long.
Holzkamp now looks at it from the top. Switches hands and fires wide. Not much out of the set offense again for Baltimore, but Shaw will come out with it, take the hit from McGeaney. Has his left elbow up to shield as he rolls behind.
Steve Shaw's a big boy, too. He's a 200-pounder, and he's well put together, so he's a tough kid to knock off his feet.
Good switch, though, for Philadelphia, and another shot violation. That is the second 45-second shot clock violation against Baltimore, and you can go a month without seeing one of those. Baltimore clearly trying to control tempo.
Yeah, I think they're really playing real solid, good one-on-one defense and keeping them way out on the perimeter. And there's no sense of shooting from out there. And you got to keep looking for the better shot, but they're not getting it. And right now, that's just a tribute to the Wings.
That's J.C. Conley, number 10. An aggressive, hustling little player. Double team on Shaw. And that'll get a whistle. And a hand in the back. Means possession, Baltimore. And right to left to Sewell. And even on the would-be transition opportunities, Baltimore pulls it back out front.
Yeah, Sewell didn't handle that clearly either, so recognized that it was 3 people against just him, so he pulled it back out and set up. But they definitely are slowing the tempo down and doing it successfully. The problem is they're not getting any shots out of it.
Shot clock already to 19. Ooh, that's long and wide from Dave Sherwood. And that was just too easy for Rick Sewell. Had all day long to load and fire and score to give Baltimore their first lead of the day.
I think Dozier just had his legs too far apart then. It goes between his stick and his inside of his left heel. Sewell just made a nice shot. He gets the ball all alone underneath. You see here, he puts it low and puts it right between the 5 holes, Larry Rosen would say.
Rick is 7th. The veteran from Washington College, a Potomac, Maryland native. And again, had the easiest opportunity that Baltimore has had, and Sewell did not miss. This time, Durgel with Jeff Jackson, the number 2 faceoff man for Baltimore, and Durgel brings it out clean to Gabrielson. But yet again, it's a walk it up.
Yeah, it is. It's slowed down. They got back on defense. This kid, Ricky Freed, can shake and bake, as can Tucker. This is a real good line for going against you one-on-one. So if they can get the Thunder spread out here, you got some people who can beat you one-on-one, as Tuck probably will do right here.
Tough angle shot for Mark Hahn, but McClellan stayed with it. As Tucker distributes well at the top and finds Hahn.
McClellan is an excellent, fundamental, technical, sound goalie. He's always right. Everything he does, he plays his angles very well, plays his pipes very well. So you got to really put good shots on him to beat him.
Coaching staff says both he and Manos have had one bad half apiece. That a pass to the linesman, but recovered out front. Ooh, and that a little bit of a deflection caught Bilger in the crook of his left elbow, but good quickness to control for Tucker. Nice lead pass, Gabrielson, but he can't put it away. What a nice feather touch pass from Tucker to Gabrielson.
We've seen Tucker do that so many times. Like, what a great save again by McClellan.
Back-to-back over-the-shoulder passes. Leads Lemon, and Bilger stayed with it. So Baltimore getting a little fancy. Length of the floor to the breaking cut. Here goes Brad. Did he miss the net, or did
he missed the cage? He missed the cage. He went for that right hip of McClellan and missed it. Was outside the 4x4.
Now, how's Brad feeling now, giving up a point blanker like that?
He won't miss many of those.
He gets another shot, perhaps. 2-on-2. Potts into the face mask, and he kicks the rebound to himself, and a little floor pass, but Canby comes up with it.
Well, shooting's off right now. He had 1 shot at the helmet, 2 in the chest, and 1 misses the cage. That's not like Brad Kotz for 4 shots. That tells you that McClellan is playing exceptionally well if they're starting to miss the cage now.
And Baltimore's done a good job of keeping the crowd out of it, as this is the largest crowd McClellan's ever played in front of. Off the right foot of Bilger on the save. Jenkins on the move to Smith, who scores. Lovely 360.
Jamie Smith's one of the best off-the-ball players that I ever had the privilege of watching play and coaching. A great one at Cornell. Here he comes down the outside, makes a real great handle on a tough pass. Had to do a 360, puts it away. Should have been in the jam contest yesterday for the NBA.
My goodness, what a sweet pirouette off the right hip by that man, Jamie Smith. And the Thunder opens a 3-1 lead. And again, as you said, Tony, the key was the nature of the catch. I don't think we give enough credit to the reception.
That's right. That was behind him and to the side. He had to really do a 360 to get it.
Nice little scoop pass by Brad Kotz to allow a Philadelphia possession. Less than a minute to go, period number 1. And there's Chris Dent as Gary Martin runs through traffic. And Philadelphia leaves Tony Resch kind of in a high slot, almost a high post area, where he can screen off the ball. Now he's setting one for Kotz. Perfectly done. Tony winds up with a rebound at his feet. And that was set up perfectly.
Right. They're going to use his size and strength to pick people and try to get their good shooters open in close, which they did to Kotz, and he couldn't handle the pass.
Interesting that the Thunder takes a timeout with 19 seconds remaining in the first period to try to set up something set.
One of the things we had mentioned earlier, the Wings are leading the league in scoring percentage, and that's because they're putting their shots on the cage. And today they seem to be off a little bit, but as we've mentioned before, Larry, over the course of our 3 years together, good goalies and goalies getting hot in the cage cause good shooters to start to miss. And I think that the better the goalie and the better the goalie is playing, the better and more times you want to make sure your shot is on the cage. And unfortunately, your psych takes over and you start going for the corners and say, God, I'm never going to get anything by this guy. And not only do you make it easier for him because you miss the cage with the shot that tries to be too perfect.
Interesting that the strategy with Baltimore is to use Tom Manos in the second half, Tom McClellan in the first half. Dave Evans does not have the same kind of rotation in mind for Philadelphia, as Bilger, if he plays well, could go 60 minutes. What do you think of that, of yanking the goalie no matter how hot he may be? Is nice base left over from a Villanova game, maybe?
It's tough to say. This is a completely different game for a goalie than the field game, and it's so hard to concentrate in this game for 60 minutes and have so many shots. You're getting double number of shots if you play the whole game as you would in the field game, and from a much closer vantage point each time. So I think it's tough to play 60 minutes.
5 seconds remaining. Welsh way out the top's going to have to let it go himself, and does, weakly and wide. And we close with a bang. I believe the officials had a right arm up in the air, so we may well be having a penalty call. If so, it'll come against Philadelphia. We will give that to you when we come back. One period complete. Baltimore leads Philadelphia 3-1. It's live lacrosse on Prism. Welcome back live to the Spectrum. Larry Rosen with Tony Seaman. Baltimore on top by a couple. Here's one of them.
This is the one that put him ahead 2-1 by Ricky Saul. Puts it down between Bilger's leg and stick. Puts it away. That was a nice pass to find him open right there on the right side of the crease.
Philadelphia got the first one just 60 seconds in. Scotty Gabrielson got it. Then 3 unanswered Baltimore goals. And we have Manley in the box with Delaney. Jim Delaney, number 10, at the top of your screen. Dual roughing minors. So the second period will open with the two teams playing one man shy at 4 apiece. And you know, Tony, never believed these coaches from our pre-scout. Coach Stewart said that they were going to try to play an up-tempo. They added a lot of speed. They wanted to go end-to-end with Philadelphia. And once the game started, it's been kind of walk it up.
Yeah, and here we go with Shaw and Durgel again.
What do you think, all day long with this?
Absolutely, guarantee it. They're going to be at each other all day long. Here they are right now, still battling.
Philadelphia just 1 for 11 in terms of shooting. And the Thunder 3 out of 14. And the visitors picked up 18 of the 30 loose balls, another key stat. Shaw working one-on-one. Has a man behind. That's Peter Jenkins. And nobody cuts him off. His shot rolls wide. Again, 4-on-4, the premise, a little bit more open space.
Yeah, open space, and I really don't think Baltimore has the kind of people that can go one-on-one against you real successfully, and although they've just done it twice in a row now. I think that the Wings have the advantage, but the Wings don't have the ball.
Is that a minor violation against Philadelphia? Jenkins and Chuck Muir now at the top as they switch.
They're going to try to get their good one-on-one shake and bake players out here. Jackson and Sweet. D'Arcangelo. D'Arcangelo's the master at this type of game. Muir's the left-handed shooter, so let's see. They're probably going to go now and see if they're going to pick for the ball.
And Sweet drops it to the trailer. Jackson, who's short hoppers, handled by Bilger. But there's the good set. 4-on-4 for another 30 seconds.
Give it to Big Lou and let Big Lou go here one-on-one. I think D'Arcangelo will probably run over and try to take him.
It's Matt McGeady setting the screen and rolling off it. Lou cradling up by the neck, goes behind. And that's got to be a holding. Minor coming. And he scores!
And Big Lou gets him going.
Sweet Lou's got it going.
Yeah, he sure does. That's a great play. Using his size, that's a real nice move by Dave Evans, I think. He gets him in there. Louis comes around. He played attack in college. He's used to coming around the crease and puts it inside the hip, runs down the leg, and kicks in off of McClellan's heel. But he really did the work. You see him just use that real strong body, and you see D'Arcangelo with the hook and the pull down. There you see the ball kick in behind him. It's got the right spin, and in it goes.
And a great reaction by McClellan when he looked down a beat too late. It's 3-2. McGrath will get the assist. Now, we've had this problem before. If you look at the top of your screen, the Thunder player wants to come out with the Wings goal and allow the power play, but it's 4-4 with the coincidental minors. We had that problem in our first Spectrum game.
Right.
7 seconds remaining.
Both come out together no matter who scores or how many times.
So 7 seconds left on the 4-on-4 set. Philadelphia uses to their advantage as Lou Delegati gets them back within 1. And it's still Shaw and Durgel. Looked like it was won cleanly. And a 4-on-1 develops just that quickly. Here they come in a wave. Sewell pops and scores. How do you get a 4-on-1 off a face-off?
What happened was you called it. Durgel looked like he had won that cleanly. All the Wings went to the offensive end. He didn't scoop the ball, and the Thunder did, and Durgel comes home. A real nice bounce shot by Sol right between the legs.
And I guess with a 4-on-1, you've got to give Bilger the guy with the ball and try to cut off the passing angle, because Noah and Sewell had a week and a half to load and fire.
Yeah, he really did, and he comes up high with it, so that's where you think he's going for a high corner, and then he bounces it, and he puts it to one place that probably Kevin has been weaker than any other place, Larry, over his 3 years in the league, and that's in the 5-hole.
Down low, through the legs. And this is Jackson winning the face-off this time, Jeff Jackson.
Although Durgel had that controlled and put it out, but his people don't get to the ball first. And that's just a miscommunication between the end people and Durgel, the face-off man.
And they're back to 5 aside. And again, Thunder has controlled the tempo throughout. An easy one for Bilger. Just a couple of opportunities for Brad Potts and Mark Hahn length of the floor. Here they have some open space, though. But Ricky Freed can't handle Gabrielson's pass, and they've got to start it at the top with Greg Manley. And John Tucker, the last guy up. Tuck calling the iron cross play.
There goes Welsh against Tucker. Well, these two guys have matched up against each other numerous times in their careers.
A low percentage shot by Mark Hahn hits hard off the window to the rear. And good speed from John Nostrand. Has Welsh and Sewell. Goes for Sewell. Dipsy-do and a shot and a score. How do you like that? A little bit of a cheap one from Jim Delaney. And we look down to see if Kevin Bilger might be getting an early hook.
Yeah, we see it bounce across, picks it up, and puts it home on a good bounce out from a good distance outside. No screen on that. I think your goalie has to come up with that save. But not much pressure by the defense either.
And again, Baltimore has effectively taken the Spectrum crowd out of it.
Yeah, they sure have. Now, as I sit here, I just feel, come on, let's get it going. Let's go, get some enthusiasm, become intense, start to play, get awake. It's an afternoon. You don't have a night game today. It's an afternoon game.
And as we previewed at the top, so much of it's been kick-started off the draws. And while Durgel seems to be holding his own, possession has belonged to Baltimore.
Yeah, I think the wing people for the Thunder have done a much better job than the Wings have in getting the face-off once it's been kicked out by one of the two face-off men.
Smith ranges behind, looking for a cutter, blocked off by Durgel. And rest leaves for Gary Martin.
Just not handling things cleanly. Of course, this is not their speed line here. This is the, I like to call their big boys line.
And there's Andy Wilson, number 55. He's been quiet. The first pick of the expansion draft for Philadelphia, out of Loyola, an All-American. And there he is, a loaded for the score. How do you like that?
Real nice. He came in a good old basketball pick and roll. He says something pick, and they switch, and he comes off it. We find him home alive, and he puts it home. Great shot. Andy Wilson's awful tough in close. Brad Kotz with a great pass. Puts it off the hip of McClellan. He has no chance on that. You get that goalie moving like that. Maybe they come back now. You can see Kotz down there. He's getting psyched. He's yelling to his team. There's nobody in this world that likes to lose less than Brad Kotz does.
Brad, of course, entertained the media. What, Friday afternoon?
Yeah, Friday afternoon we had the Wings over at the University of Pennsylvania. And, all the major television networks were out, and it was a great session.
Larry Rosen with the coach from the University of Pennsylvania, Tony Seaman, head coach, men's lacrosse. It's a 5-3 Thunder lead. 5 minutes in. Period number 2 live from the Spectrum. Everybody in close. And the long rebound comes to Gary Martin. And perhaps that goal has kick-started the Wings. Martin doing it alone. Kotz.
Nice defensive play. Defenseman got his body on that shot.
Todd Canby. Gary Martin goes low and almost squeaked on through.
Real nice look by Chris Dent, the new rookie. Finds Martin, and Martin made a nice shot. That was a real good save by McClellan. He really protects that 9-5 hole real well. Here's a breakaway.
That's Gary Martin. Left foot save, McClellan. As it looked as if Martin might have telegraphed that just a tiny bit. Kotz digging it out. Gary Martin gets right around Sweet and scores. Very easy for Gary Martin.
The difference between his first 2 shots and this shot is that he's going to deke the goalie. He's going to set up the goalie with 2 real good fakes and then put it away. Watch. He comes across. 1 high, 2 high, and then he beats him to the off hip. So that time he uses his head. He says, hey, 2 times okay, not the 3rd time. I'm not striking out.
Gary Martin from the King of Prussia, one of the players featured in our special halftime feature coming up, where we get the players' opinion on a number of the issues facing the Indoor Lacrosse League. We invite you to stay with us for that. Gary Martin featured, along with Mike French, the general manager, Dave Evans. To meet and greet a number of the Wings players. It's 5-4, back to a 1-goal contest.
And here's our war again, Shaw and Durgel. Both stepping to their left, trying to see whose stick can get down and control the clamp, and then they'll pull it out. Shaw's got it. Now can he get it out of there?
And the push from the rear. Looked like Groundhog Day out there.
Yeah, you can just see when you get 2 people who have such tremendous technique and so alike in what they do and so alike in their strength and their body size, and it's just going to be a war every time. It's really fun to watch.
Wide open in front was Mark DeSico as both men went to the screener, and DeSico popped free but couldn't handle. And it looks like Baltimore is going to a little bit more of a length of the floor game.
Yeah, I think their transition or their to get up the floor fast is by the long pass, not by carrying it with their speed.
Sewell to Nostrand.
I feel like the intensity's picked up a little bit here for the Wings. I think they're starting to get into the game a little bit. I think Brad Kotz has brought that out of them. They're trying to get the crowd into it here, and there's a very good crowd here from the looks of just looking around, Larry. So there are some people here to get psyched, and this could be a 3-on-2, 4-on-2.
Delegati's the trailer with McGeady being carried by Conley. Goes off wing to French. And he hits the board head first, and that'll be a minor. And Lou Delegati gets on top, and 6 bodies fly in the corner.
And this will get the crowd into it. Here we go.
Conley scores!
Great job. No, he's called it off. Referee has called it off. No goal. Might have been in the crease.
Wow. Good call. His right foot looked like it came across the line.
That's a tough call. But I'll tell you what, no matter if it's a goal or not, the Wings have come to play now. They're starting to get it going. And who did it? Big Lou becomes the instigator over against the boards. He made about a 15-yard run and took out 2 of the Thunder. They're discussing it right now, the referee, so it's still being discussed here.
Well, there was a delayed minor penalty coming up originally for the hit, I believe, by Sewell. on
Right.
French. That was the original boarding call. Here's the first hit. That's the board right there. Boom.
And boy, he goes head first into that board. And then he comes and slaps him again to get the ball. And right after that, they both stood
Delgado
up.
came
and
on top.
Big Lou made a 15-yarder. And it's funny because when this all stopped and the referee called the goal off, Delgado got up and then he kind of laid French out, and he was so exuberated, like, let's get it going, let's go here. His own man, and French was like, you're right. So watch for the Wings to come alive now.
There was no goal on the play.
Yeah, no
Officials
goal.
ruled no goal.
Jim Weiss tells us a crease violation on J.C. Conley. So that wipes off what would have been the tying goal. And Lou Delgado gets it for jumping on the back of the pile and charging. Call it a roughing minor. Here comes Big Lou flying
Watch this. What a great shot. You see him over top everybody.
And then Matt McGeaney gets in.
Yeah, little McGeaney, pound for pound, is as tough as anybody. He can throw that 135 pounds around, too, and doesn't mind getting dirty.
What's wrong with 135-pounders?
Nothing if they like to throw him around.
So, looks like it's going to be 4 aside. And following the slow start, it has picked up in intensity considerably. Glad you're with us live on Frizzle, Major Indoor Lacrosse League. And our associate producer, Paul Jolovitz, says it's either 2 minutes for roughing or assault. He's not quite sure which.
We have a face-off, Shaw, and it's going to be Shaw. Durgel back at it. Now that one controlled by Durgel, puts it between his legs, right where he wants it.
And then Shaw hits him in the small of the back with the butt end of his stick, and Durgel comes up looking for someone to head hunt. That's John Tucker. Gets past 2 men, has freed, can't find Gabrielson. Again, 4 aside for the next minute 40. Freed with that jab step. Just couldn't find him. The pass is not quite as crisp to Gabrielson. Tackled at the top.
And we got a penalty, and they'll continue to play. Now it's intercepted.
That is Pat Welsh, who just wrapped him up around the neck, collar tied him.
Well, as we mentioned, Larry, right from the beginning, the last time these two guys played against each other, Durgel and Shaw, it was a war. Durgel won it, but Shaw really got a lot of shots in after the play, and the ball left their area. He's starting to do that again now as he hits, as you mentioned, got Durgel right in the small of his back. And I'm not sure that the Wings are going to put up with a lot more of this.
No. And there's Wells picking up a minor for the hog tie. Call it holding. And this is the first power play of the afternoon.
It's only going to be a 4-on-3 in this situation.
And a good time for Coach Dave Evans to get some strategy set. 4-on-3 coming up. The Wings trail by 1 midway through period number 2. Back in the spectrum where a mini wave begins across from us. It'll be a 4-on-3 for Philadelphia. Tony, the basic precepts of 4-on-3.
4-on-3 is, your normal box lacrosse man up is 5-on-4. Now we have 2 penalties, so it's a 4-on-3. The defense will play a triangle. They'll probably try to keep it as tight as possible, give up the perimeter shot, not the inside shot. The offense has several things that they could set up. They could set up a box offense, 2-and-2, or they can try something a little different. Maybe possibly a 1-2-1 or a 1-3. Let's see, we're looking at a box here by the Wings.
With John Tucker at the top, Potts and Wilson in the shooting roles, and French the screener. And Wilson just walks in and takes a 20-footer.
Well, he's got that real good sidearm shot where he can let it go.
Back out front to Tucker. Here's John Tucker, the leader of the squad. Good reversal to Wilson. Left foot save. French the rebound over the top. Tucker's got it. Oh, a sliding save by McClellan. Beauty.
Great defense by McClellan and real good offense, ball movement. Kotz saw Tucker way up top then and got a great pass to Wilson, who made a great face dodge. McClellan comes up tough.
That Bilger's got to be quick as the length of the floor pass for Jenkins rolled in on the goalkeeper. Here's Wilson again. 3-on-2 set. And Kotz is blocked by Shaw. And McClellan controls in the crease.
Now they want to put some pressure, get this ball back.
Here's Steve Shaw, graduate of Delaware University. Bilger fundamentally sound on that. And the Thunder can rag some clock. And the check by Tucker sends Jenkins into Bilger. And the crowd reacts as Lou Delegati takes the floor.
Look, Wilson just gave the fake to Tucker like he gave him a pass, but he kept the ball. We saw that in the first game here this year, where Wilson was making believe he had the ball, but Tucker had it the whole time.
The old hidden ball trick, and it faked us out. No, McClellan was in the crease, so that'll be possession Baltimore as Delegati got a piece of the goalkeeper. And Jim Holzkamp at 6'2", 200, number 20, comes to the aid of his goaltender.
I think they have a problem with the turf again. I think it's come up. Oh, he's making him bring the ball back. He's got to start even with the goaltender because of the penalty recurring in the crease. Big Lou's looking to hit anything out here today.
And Philadelphia will now fail on their premier power play of the day as the penalty of Walsh is over. And the two teams back at 5 aside. Jackson behind, working on Mark DeSico. Left shoulder save, rebound, right shoulder save, Bilger. And a crease violation called on Rick Sewell. And the break for French. Off the right kneecap of McClellan, who's going to come over to the bench as a trailer. Looks like he's talking to Delegati.
Yeah, he is. He's letting Delegati have it.
My goodness, he comes 40 feet out of his net just to yell at sweet Lou Delegati.
And Big Lou comes running into the game and goes right to the crease to talk back to Mr. McClellan. So let's keep our eyes on that one. We got a lot of great little wars going on here in this game.
Meantime, DeSico, the stutter step, spins, has to go out of the top. Conley, tripped up, shovel past McGeady. In front to DeSico. Rebound Delegati. And Delegati really throwing his weight around. Conley scores.
He hit the one place that McClellan has not been able to protect, and that's that high off-stick corner. And boy, did he let it go from about 25. And the crowd is into it, Larry Rosen. There it is, that top corner. You couldn't have put a better shot. He did it from about 20 yards straight out.
Conley's got a great plant. When he takes the hop step, seems to plant with the left leg and get the full hip turn. Is that fundamentally sound shooting?
Absolutely. Get the hands away from the body, get the wrist and forearm, and just like any baseball or golf swing in the world, get the hips leading everything, and that's where you get the ultimate velocity.
That's called torque?
That's called torque.
Good hip torque from Conley, the smallest man on the field. Ties it at 5, late in period number 2. And again, it's Durgel and Shaw. And the referee knows he's in the middle of some hand-to-hand combat.
They both are a step left, as I said. Now Durgel's got that ball.
He wins it clean, but Nolstrand comes out with it.
Right, and that's not his fault. That's the fault of the rest of the wings. They've got to come up with that.
And Tucker picks up the ground ball. It is 5-5 with 3:50 and counting, second period. Gabrielson to the cutting Tucker's got it. Short hop shot, a little bit wide, off the window. Mark Hahn beaten by Norris, former teammates. And Delaney left wing has Nostrand right wing. Norris down the center. Left foot save, Bilger. Rebound belongs to Mark Hahn. Side court break for Gary Martin. Takes it to the middle of the floor. And a push on the back by Gabrielson. It belongs to Baltimore. The quick break to Glenn Norris in front. Nice save off Jenkins. Got it with the left shoulder, maybe?
Yes, he definitely got it with his left shoulder. Bilger's very good up high. Excellent up high. And when you get in that close, I think if you fake him up high and put it low, and at the other end, I think McClellan is tremendously sound down low. So you want to fake him low and start shooting up high on him, especially to that right to his right shoulder side.
Chris Dent leaves it for Brad Kott, the overhand shot.
Just off the hip. He got his knee up there to save that one. It was really too far out. I think Brad wants to come a little bit higher with these shots now.
The hit by Tony Resch, the one-time football star at Cornell, or at Yale rather. Oh, right off the stick itself. The neck of the stick makes the save for Bilger on Pat Walsh. And Baltimore content to take their time in the set offense. Muir clearing Wilson out in front with the stick swinging as Hulskamp does it by himself. But a great matchup off the ball between Muir and Andy Wilson as Wilson carries through center himself.
Gary Martin was playing defense that run and got a check on him by Welsh that I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Martin for a while. Doubled him over and he came to the bench there on the transfer.
And he's just sitting with his head down. French on the move, score!
Real nice play off the ball, the picks off the ball. Draws on the ball side, gets the good pass right high in his stick, and guess who from? Lou Delgatti. And Paul French puts it home. Great shot.
He catches and makes that one big stride and gets rid of it.
Right, and it's so important that that pass is right there because the defenseman's close, and if it's behind him, he can reach the stick, and you don't want to make him lose stride, and it was perfect.
So for the first time since 1 minute had gone by in the first period, Philadelphia's got a lead with 1:38 remaining in the second quarter. It's 6-5 as Philadelphia scored 4 unanswered goals.
Now, as we watch our cameraman get a great shot here in this face-off, watch Sturgill's left foot. That time he uses a different technique and goes for the flip straight ahead.
Loses his stick and then comes up with the ball to McGeady. How do you like that? Score! How do you like that? Sturgill loses his stick and winds up with an assist to a breaking McGeady.
Finally got a break. He's been winning most of these face-offs outward, but hasn't been able to get the ball to his teammates. And this one is done. Nice stop by McGeady. Some real good fake. Shoots the ball straight overhand. Here you are. You're the goalie. There's the fake. Then he comes straight overhand and puts it right off the hip. You get him moving, boy. That's what's called fundamentally sound shooting. Excellent job.
When these two teams met the last time, it was tied with 90 seconds to go in the first half, and Philadelphia scored twice in the closing 30 seconds. And Dave Stewart, Baltimore's coach, said that really took the starch out. Could be the same thing. Philadelphia 2 goals 9 seconds apart, late second period today.
Absolutely, and you could just feel it. We said it about 9 minutes ago. You could just feel Philadelphia start to get into play here. And I think Lou was a big catalyst for that, and it's carried on.
2-on-2, Norris avoids the high check of DeSico. Picked up, though, by McGeady, the goal scorer, and Bilger handles it low.
And Bilger's had a real good 6 or 7 minutes now here in the second period. He's starting to get confident, and he's getting his feet moving a little bit on shots. He's starting to anticipate better, so that's helping.
33 seconds on the shot clock as we go inside 1 minute on the halftime game clock, and it's a Thunder possession. They could use all but about 9 seconds if they chose to. Welsh. As strangely now the shot clock is off, there should be about 9 or 10 seconds difference between the two clocks. And the Thunder victimized by 2 45-second violations.
Watch this matchup here, Tucker and Welsh. I got to tell you a story when we get time later on about these two.
D'Arcangelo goes low. Bilger, long outlet for French. He's got a cutter. He's got Mark Hahn. Oh, just off the left post.
Yes, Larry, we both watched where he wanted that one to go, and it was there.
And a whistle, timeout Philadelphia, with 15 seconds remaining in the first half. So Philadelphia wants that one final thrust, just as Baltimore did in the closing seconds of period number 1.
That's the hardest thing in the world as a coach right there. There's Matt McGeady, picks up the ground ball. He's coming from behind with nobody on him. Dave Evans saw the ball shot and missed, so he called timeout. And now here comes this guy around with nobody on him, but he's already called the time. The ref's blowing the whistle, and it stops. Well, I hope he's got a great play.
And again,
that's so tough.
Again, the Thunder has had late second period problems against Philadelphia before. And perhaps Tom McClellan has felt the fatigue factor in the closing few minutes, although they've been breakaways and relatively difficult shots for any goaltender to handle at any time in the contest.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Bilger the last 6 or 7 minutes. He's had 6 or 7 real strong saves on good close-in shots, and he's getting more and more confident. I think there was a time there where 3 or 4 scored in a row, and I was going to say, wow, we're going to be seeing O'Brien come in here. But Bilger's really got himself back together, and at the same time, at the other end, now the Wings are starting to get their transition game going here. They've had some good breaks. Watch John Tucker.
And you can count down the clock in the lower right-hand corner yourself. A little bit of a weave. How do you like that for French? It's 8-5.
Yeah, they weaved, and then they picked French's man to let him take the outside shot, and they did it off a screen and put it by McClellan.
Got to make a coach feel good, you know. Take that time out. 7 seconds later, it's in the net.
Yeah, that's a real nice shot. It's just where he shot the ball before, Larry, only this time was inside the pipe, so it scores. And the one he just missed before, a real nice bounce shot. And that seems to be the one that's giving McClellan trouble, the one that bounces out away from the crease a little bit so it comes up into the hip area. So difficult to save. And for 8 seconds now, we're going to get treated once again to the Shaw Durgel show here at half court.
Well, Philadelphia, the final 6 goals of the first half, should we go off this way. French has 7 of his goals at home, just 1 on the road. So, you know, he likes playing before the Spectrum fans. We'll count it down again for you. Shaw takes a couple of butt-end swipes.
That's what we're talking about. You see him get him about 6 times.
Oh, another one. And Shaw and DeSico have some words.
DeSico will go at him.
Yeah, Shaw does some stuff I've not seen in my 3 years with the butt end.
Yeah, Shaw's
the small of the back.
Shaw was he's been a face-off man for a long time, so he knows the tricks.
Kevin Bilger rises up in the second period. Philadelphia, 6 consecutive unanswered goals. They go off by 3, the lead at the half.
Wings are about to overhaul some turbos. Coors Light presents the Major Indoor Lacrosse League this Saturday night, 8 p.m. on the Spectrum. The Philadelphia Wings versus the Detroit Turbos. The sports adventure of a lifetime. Lightning fast, gut-wrenching excitement, crashing, forwarding, cross-checking, no holds barred. You are the home field advantage. Be in the Spectrum when the Wings soar. Coors Light presents the Philadelphia Wings and the Detroit Turbos. You gotta see it to believe it.
And welcome back, Major Indoor Lacrosse here on Prism at the Spectrum. It's halftime. Welcome, everybody. I'm Larry Rosen. Again, a historical afternoon for us here on Prism as we present the Major Indoor Lacrosse League for the first time. The Wings came out a little slow, scored the last 6 goals of the first half. They're resting downstairs up by a 3-goal lead. The Major Indoor Lacrosse League has believed in slow, steady progress. And as we meet and greet the players, let's get a player's perspective on how this league is run, where it's going. Meet the Philadelphia Wings.
It's adventure of a lifetime.
This is what brings them to the Spectrum.
Cross-checking.
But this, they hope, is what will bring them back.
Conley could spin over the shoulder, score. Lovely J.C. Conley. Oh, baby.
Great
You have
job
to bring
by
the
little
crowd
John
in.
Conley.
That's with the hard hitting and checking and fighting. But I think once they're in there, they realize that that might be 10 minutes of the game. And then you start seeing the finesse, you start seeing the scoring, you start seeing the true aspects of lacrosse.
And that, in essence, is the player's perspective on the Major Indoor Lacrosse League, a league openly built on nonstop action and often painful sideshows. The marketing approach often draws snickers from players and coaches who do not laugh when they look up and see 16,000 or more in the Spectrum. The head coach sees a workable historical analogy.
I think looking back when the Flyers first came into existence in, what, 67, I guess it was, I gather that was more or less the way hockey was promoted. And now, I think the average Flyer fan, and I think the average Flyer executive gets a little antsy when they're considered as just a the old Broad Street Bullies business. I think hockey has made that transition from being promoted as purely a rough and tumble roller derby kind of a thing to a skilled, highly skilled, fast, exciting sport, which happens also to be rough. And I'm hoping that gradually we'll make that transition. So I don't. From a philosophical standpoint, I don't agree with that type of advertising. But from a realistic standpoint, if it puts people in the building, hopefully people will come out and see that, hey, it is a rough sport, but it's also a very skilled sport and an exciting one.
Some of that excitement was lacking a year ago. Evans is a former world-class goaltender, a defensive-minded coach whose team tended to stall in the half-court set. But now a new offensive philosophy, which has led to a league lead in goals scored and simply a more fun game to watch.
French for the hat trick. Got it. Mike French.
If we want to kind of play in our own end, very similar to a lot of the Big East teams play basketball, and that is when you're in our end, we're going to push you, and we're going to force turnovers, and we want that ball to hit the ground. We want you to shoot, and basically then we want to play right off of that. And I think the one thing that we have this year that's a little bit different than last year is through the whole group that is on the team, we've got a higher level of athlete. I mean, we got people that can run. And we will push the ball up the floor, and what you'll see a lot is you'll see us moving it to the corner as it comes up the floor, and then try to beat the fourth and fifth guy down. And hopefully we can get a guy breaking through the net. If that doesn't happen, then we'll go into a set situation.
Learning a new philosophy, though, is difficult. Practice time is limited. About half the Wings live in or near Philadelphia. The other half live in the Baltimore area. And salaries are certainly not the draw. Players earn between $100 and $200 per game. Most are college graduates, most professionals in their own right, playing the game for pure passion. Interestingly, there's a special, almost pioneer spirit among the Wings.
It's 100% personal passion. A lot of people ask the question about, do you mind getting paid X amount of money? And for me, the opportunity to get in front of people of that nature, like we said, the Philadelphia crowds, the excitement, that's something that every kid who grows up in sports really dreams of doing. And if you have an opportunity at this level to do it, it's a very exciting opportunity for you. You develop a lot on and off the field as well. It helps me in my professional field. I sell for a company here in Philadelphia. And it really helps me with my customers and the contacts and the company buying tickets and people really being recognized. And that's a lot of fun.
I think we're pioneers in the sport right now. We're going to watch it grow. I can't see it's going to happen within the years that I'm going to be playing lacrosse. That's going to grow. Again, exactly what you said. I think we're professional people. We have a job, and we enjoy what we do. I think on the other end, we like to get away at 5 o'clock and do it something else, and that happens to be lacrosse for me.
I think the schedule could ultimately be 16 games. I think that you could have possibly 2 divisions of 6 teams each. I think that you have to restrict it really to weekend play with the odd exception. And I think that those things are realistic. I think the players can make much more money eventually when, we get more corporate sponsorship. We get a little bit more consistent attraction at the gate. So I think that a player can maybe make, $15,000, $20,000, get some recognition, maybe even some endorsements at some point, and it can be a little bit more fun, and ultimately the players will benefit a little more.
The Major Indoor Lacrosse League salutes the home of the Baltimore Thunder, the Sheraton Inner Harbor Hotel. For the New York Saints, it's the Long Island Marriott. The Philadelphia Wings are hosted by the Philadelphia Airport Hilton. The Detroit Turbos stay at the Hotel St. Regis. The New England Blazers are headquartered at the Worcester Marriott. These are the official headquarters of the Major Indoor Lacrosse League.
And welcome back to the Spectrum live on Prism. Larry Rosen and Tony Seaman, 1 half complete, awaiting half number 2. And Philadelphia's 6 unanswered goals to close the first half. And if you look at the statistics, one that we're trying to educate you on is loose balls. In the first period, Baltimore got 18 of the 30 loose balls. Philadelphia more than turned the tables in period number 2, picking up 25 of the 37 loose balls. And Tony, they shot 7 out of 17. As we look at the first period scoring summary, Gabrielson got it going a minute in, then 3 consecutive by Baltimore as they built a lead that they carried for the next 26, 27 minutes of action.
Yeah, I think that Bill Drew almost got to the point where he was going to lose it and get really down on himself, but then he got it back together, and all of a sudden the Wings come back, and I really have to give the credit to Lou Delegati, not only with that goal, his 4th of the season and 157 in the second quarter to get him going, but also his throwing his body around.
the All-American goalkeeper out of Loyola, Tom McClellan, is likely done for the day, but he did some good work, especially early on, to keep the Thunder in it.
Yeah, he's so fundamentally sound. He makes so many good saves. His feet always seem to be in real good positions. And as we see right here, what a great save was this as he got back in on a being evolved out to the side and then comes back across and makes a great save.
And
but
J.C. Conley, of course, we've become accustomed to his jab step and really great velocity from what would be in basketball about the top of the key kind of a shot.
Right, and here we see he cranks up, gets the hips, gets the forearms, and it comes off that right shoulder side of McClellan, and that seemed to be the one spot they were getting through on. And the big bounces started to hurt McClellan a little bit near the end. Now, we talked about this before, Larry. It's so hard to concentrate for a goalie for that full 60 minutes. So now we're going with the philosophy of the Thunder and Coach Stewart is to use another goalie for the second half. The philosophy of the Wings and Dave Evans has always been, you're my man, you're in the goal, you're playing 60 minutes if you get the job done. So they're with Bilger, and they're going to stay with Bilger.
Of course, Philadelphia got 3 goals in a minute 38 to close it out. That is the difference. It was 5-5 with 1:38 remaining in the game in the first half. And I think the goal by McGeady was also a very key one. We'll touch on that in a moment. First, the standings. It's an 8-game regular season, so each and every one, especially your home games, quite important. And Baltimore at 2-3 have played the most games in the league. Philadelphia at 2-1.
Right, and Detroit's 3-0, but Detroit's 3 games, 2 of them against New England, the other franchise, new franchise in the league, and the third against Washington, which is 1-2 at this time. So Detroit's still got to play the big boys, New York, Philadelphia, and Baltimore. So that'll be interesting.
And Detroit's had almost 13,000 at their 2 home games at the Joe Louis Arena. And again, that McGeady goal came right off a Durgill faceoff, where Durgill lost the faceoff, lost his stick, picked up his stick, got the ball all in one motion, and the shovel pass ahead to the breaking McGeady. And sometimes it's not just what you do to get the possession, but how everybody reacts around it.
Absolutely right. In fact, we've commented many times today, Durgill has won the initial draw on the faceoff, but the Thunder has come in from the wings and from the defensive end to get control of the ground ball and therefore win the total faceoff effort. And on that particular case, Durgill was just a great effort.
And, of course, a schedule update for you. Detroit, undefeated, will come into Philadelphia. They will still be undefeated when they get there. And that'll be on Saturday, the 18th of February, an 8 o'clock start here at the Spectrum. There it is, the Turbos on the 18th. Then the Wings go up to the Centrum in Worcester, Mass. to take on the Blazers on the 24th at 8 o'clock. And the schedule continues at Detroit, March the 4th. Then the regular season closes out. Tony and I will have that one for you on March the 10th at 8 o'clock here at the Spectrum.
Very interesting schedule for the Wings. Pretty much you got to win them all. This is definitely do or die for the Baltimore Thunder as far as the playoffs are concerned. They have absolutely got to win this game. So they got to be as intense and as tough as any team's going to be in the second half here this afternoon. And we have seen a battle so far today. This has had every element that you could want in a lacrosse game. Outstanding goaltending by McClellan, a real good comeback by Bilger, some great shooting, and all the banging and hard knocks that you could ever want out of any kind of game.
There's Dave Evans, nervous as a cat, a groundskeeper at a Vancouver, Canada country club, takes a 4-month midwinter leave of absence and comes down and says it cost him a lot of money, but he feels like the pioneer spirit in the professional lacrosse world.
You know, Dave Evans was a box lacrosse goalie, and that could be where his philosophy comes from. He wanted to play, and he liked playing all 60 minutes and didn't like sitting down for half a game, and he feels that you should be able to do that, and that you can do that. He tried it last year for the first time with Vinny Pfeiffer, and Vinny was the kind of physical specimen who probably could handle that, but Vinny even told me that it's not so much the physical as it is the mental, just to have that barrage of shots at you continuously through 60 minutes. It's tough to concentrate.
And, of course, we've been telling you all day long that Brad Kotz and his acquisition by Philadelphia has been a major, major benefit. 3.3 goals per game. You don't replace that kind of production.
But what a job the Thunder have done on Brad Kotz today. They've taken him out of the game so far. We see a big goose egg sitting next to his scoring total so far, so he's got to get it together here in the second half.
And looks at Kevin Bilger is heading over to the bench. There's John Stewart, the head coach of the Thunder. And perhaps Kevin will not be starting the third period. We'll have to see. There's number 14, O'Brien, who took the lion's share of the shots in warm-ups. Again, Dave Evans makes this decision as the game goes.
I think it's going to be Bilger, Larry. He's out there, he's stretching out and getting ready. So I think John was just getting some shots, keep him in the flow in case he has to come in here in the second half. So we're going to see Bilger finish out or at least start the second half for the Wings.
Another excellent crowd for you here at the Spectrum. Glad you're with us live on Prism. I'm Larry Rosen with Tony Seaman, head coach of the University of Pennsylvania's men's lacrosse program. There is Bilger heading to his pipes. So O'Brien took those warm-up shots just in case he is needed.
It's a tough time, I think, momentum-wise for the half to end. The Wings were really getting together. They had a great second quarter, just dominated the second quarter, as you pointed out. And I think you hate to go in and get that 10-minute break and have to come back now and get it all going again. And I think it was just what the Baltimore Thunder needed. So it's going to be very interesting. And I think the Wings need to establish it earlier here at the start of the first face-off in this third quarter. And the Thunder have to say, here's an answer to your 5 unanswered goals.
And as expected, Tom Manos will start the second half for the Thunder in goal. And we are prepared. Welcome back to the Spectrum for third period action. The Philadelphia Wings a 3-goal lead on the Baltimore Thunder. And third period play is underway. Again, the same Durgel-Shaw matchup. And they have not certainly changed their dispositions toward one another, Durgel and Shaw.
That's right, and finally the ref stepped in and he got Shaw holding after he lost the face-off. And it was called, so possession goes to the Wings.
And for those of you just joining us, the first period more of a walk-it-up Thunder pace. Sounds funny that the Thunder pace would be a walk-it-up one. Philadelphia able to get it on track to the open floor in the second stanza. And simply ragging is Pat Welsh, throws it length of the floor just to serve as a pressure valve, I guess. Don't see that too often, a clean possession where a defender will just throw it up the floor. Manley's double teamed. The Shaw steps in to help. Tucker reverses. And the Gabrielson shot is broken down, never reaches the net. There's the rookie, Todd Canby, number 4 on left wing. Leaves it for Delaney with Norris. Rick Sohl had a big first half with a couple of goals and an assist. Delaney, the head and shoulder fake, then shoots it wide. This will come all the way back down, and Tom Manos can touch for the first time. What do we know about Tom Manos?
Tom Manos is a local boy. Played at Lower Merion High School here in Philadelphia. And he's had a really good job so far. He's done a real nice job for the Thunder so far this year. It's his first year in the league.
Shot clock was indeed reset as Sewell goes low, but Bilger able to go low right on with him. And a push violation from the rear.
Here's a 3-on-2.
Manley left-handed. Oh, that's off the pipe by Freed, who was wide open. And that hit the pipe hard and came all the way out with authority to the center of the floor.
Yeah, that's too bad. They could have really used that one. That would have been good for Ricky Freed, too. That was a nice pass by McGeaney and not cashed in on.
Nearly a crease violation by Baltimore. The crossing pass shot is wide by Nostrand. Sewell has the rebound. Looking for a cutter's got Norris. And that's between the legs and rolling loosely in the crease, and a double team block as John Tucker can take as well as dish. Koch pops off the bench. Manley to Koch. Here we go. Score over the right hip.
You're only going to hold him out so long. And there he comes. A little bit higher. Puts it away, and that's Manos' first shot at him. That's a tough way to start. Here's Brad. Fakes him. Bends it around his hip.
I noticed that Manos has his left hand on the pipe. You see it there? Almost giving away his move, kind of. Is that something goalies do frequently? Use that offhand on the pipe?
Because of the 4x4 in the box game, at least it lets you establish your position and know where it is, and then you can pull in. But certainly didn't help out very much there. As we made a comment, Brad had hit in the head twice, in the chest, and maybe a little bit too low. Now he pulls it up and goes over top of that shoulder and finds it home.
So it is now 6 unanswered goals by Philadelphia. And their largest lead of the day. That's Brian Lemon out of Brock University in Kenna. What an open floor hit. But Jim D'Arcangelo emerges with a clean possession. D'Arcangelo, another one of those Towson products, just able to walk right down Broadway at maybe a half a dozen stick fakes before Bilger beats him. And that is just hunger in the corner. And Gary Martin emerges from the pack. Again, Brad Kotz now with 12 goals in his 4th game.
Settle down. They're still very content, the Thunder, to settle it down, get the people on the field that they want on the field, set up the combinations and matchups that they want.
And here's this afternoon's attendance, 12,383. Another outstanding crowd for the Major Indoor Lacrosse League here at the Spectrum. Holtzkamp goes on his own and scores. Just beat Brad Kotz to his left and ranged right in on Bilger and put it away to end the unanswered goal streak at 6 for Philadelphia.
And no help whatsoever by the rest of the defense. Makes a real good deke, gets by, and puts it by the offside of Bilger. And that's where team defense has got to come into play a little bit. The other people have to slide in. It came from middle out front, so there's no reason for the other people not to slide in and help cover up.
Holtzkamp from Salisbury State is more of a defensive expert. That is first goal of the season, so maybe the strategy did not include a lot of weak side help on a Holtzkamp one-on-one move. But anyway, Baltimore went 15 minutes, 36 seconds between goals, and there's the matchup of the day, Durgell and Shaw. Look at that. And it looked like a hand pass perhaps by Shaw, but McGrath picks it up for Philadelphia, and a high stick swing means penalty coming up against Baltimore, and Bilger steps out of his pipe, so it's 6-on-5. On the delay, the right arm in the air, and Evans wants John Tucker to join the fray as the extra man, and there he is, setting the scene.
Oh, go cross.
French cross, Delegati. Good call, Coach. Rebound is broken down.
They have to gain possession before it kills the clock, so the defense has got to gain possession of the ball.
Kotz to Tucker, no, to French, and that one goes off the goaltender and over the window, and we'll finally get the penalty call.
That was a great look across to Delgatti, and he had it, but a real good cover-up by Manos. Slid across the goal and really covered up well. And Louis didn't have very much to shoot at. Probably what he should have done was going right back to French with the ball.
That'll be Thunder a slashing minor. We pick up Jim Weiss.
2 minutes for slashing.
Yes, indeed, a slash on Peter Jenkins, another Delaware product. Philadelphia has had one chance on the man up, and they were unsuccessful. Here they go.
We see the Thunder in a box. They're playing a 2-2 defense. A little bit more movement by the wings here.
Stick save by Manos.
Looking to set up French.
And the ball is beneath French here. And we're going to get a possession belonging to Baltimore. Trailing by 3, the Thunder, 5 minutes in. Third period from the Spectrum. That is Sewell. Easy shot midsection of Bilger. And that perhaps ill-advised with much more clock to rag.
Yeah, I would think they would try to settle that down and contain a little bit, but they throw away an easy shot. Now here we go with the man up.
Straight box leaves Tucker some room at the top. French trying to break it free, but a crease violation on French, and Manos to enter.
So Sol and Tucker trade places on not real smart shots.
And again, Philadelphia with the manpower advantage. Haven't heard that much from Andy Wilson today. There's the ball fake by Wilson, as Tucker actually had it, has it again to Wilson. And Philadelphia not keeping the ball quite as hot as we've seen in past power play advantage situations. Kotz off the chin strap of Manos as he is on his back.
He's looking for that upside corner again, you know, that top shoulder. And Manos was able to raise it just far enough outside that he could read it and get his shoulder up to stop that shot. It was a nice stop.
Here, Durgell replaces Wilson just for the face-off. wonder how Durgill feels that the lion's share of his duty is to come in, go play rugby Groundhog Day with Steve Shaw, and then head for the bench. Not a very glamorous job.
He's doing it for a long time, though. That's how he made his living in college, and it's continued right on here, and he does it well.
And a clean win for Durgill here. And the crowd showing...
They got him. They got Shaw on the penalty. They got Shaw for the butt stick. Durgill went to him and said, "What's going on?" He said, "We got it." So you see the hand up in the air.
Perhaps that was mentioned at halftime to keep an eye on it. And it's dirty and unnecessary and could cause injury to a lower back as Tucker scores. Johnny Tucker on the delayed penalty. The first power play goal of the day for Philadelphia. And Tucker beats him on the bouncer.
There you see it. Real nice bounce. Gets there. I don't think Manos has quite the basic technical soundness on low shots that we saw exhibited by McClellan in the first half. So that might be a place now that you want to start to work on. Notice the wings coming out shooting high.
And Tucker gets his second. Now will that wipe out the existing minor and allow a fresh 2 minutes to be called on Shaw? That's the discussion going on across from us.
As far as the MILL, you could take some good odds on rules and regulations. And
let's see if we can pick up the penalties. Pick this up for us. After it's broken free, Shaw.
Okay, right there. Now watch him butt one on the ankle. There's another one on the ankle. There's no ball there at all. That's illegal.
So the second penalty called on Shaw will be wiped out by the power play goal by John Tucker, leaving Jenkins in the box for another 12 seconds. But Philadelphia has reestablished their 4-goal lead at 10-6.
Now we're going with Timmy Welsh for the Thunder facing off. He faced off for North Carolina for 3 years.
I love the arguments down along press row among the writers of the Inquirer and Daily News about whether they should let the first man out or the second man out. And again, the rules are still somewhat in their formative stages. Nobody picks up Sewell. Marches down, but Bilger saves the bacon. And Jenkins is now out, so the teams are at full strength. Quickly to DeSico, goes low. Rebound French is blocked off by Welsh. And Manos loses his helmet as he screens on French.
Yeah, that was not French going after Manos. That was Manos coming out, just as you called it, Larry, to set the screen. Did it with his head, and that's why his helmet came off.
The hop step quickly by Nostrand. But Bilger's, again, seemingly immutable high. Durgill gets a chance to Delegati, who scores. No goal. Crease violation, Lou Delegati, and Louis knew it.
Yeah, Louis knows it. Figured he'd get away with one.
And a push on the back from DeSico. And that may send Mark to the penalty box as he has some words with Rick Sewell down below us. And a very bloody nose. That is Tom Manos with a heavy cut on the bridge of his nose. There it is, right between his eyes, and that came when he stuck his face into the shoulder of French.
Yeah, I guess he's going to stay with it. I'm not sure now as a coach. You want that blood dripping in his eye. Is that possible to hurt his concentration, even his visual sight? So this will be an interesting decision by coach of the Thunder to see what he's going to do. He's going to keep Manos in there.
All right, well, they decide that, and the penalty against DeSico will come back in a moment, midway through period number 3. And back here at the Spectrum, it is Mark DeSico in the penalty box, a 2-minute pushing from the rear penalty, and a key juncture of the contest to see if Baltimore's got the offensive firepower to get back into it. D'Arcangelo runs the top on the Baltimore man advantage. Philadelphia in more of a diamond?
Yeah, diamond, and it's rotating. This is something new by Dave Evans. I like it.
D'Arcangelo, the shovel pass, good ball movement, but it's broken free. This is Baltimore's first chance with the man advantage.
Team in a diamond. Now watch, they'll rotate out of this. There he goes up and takes the side. Now we go down the wing. This is excellent. It's a great idea by Dave Evans. I'm excited.
And again, it puts immediate pressure on the ball.
It sure does. And everybody else covers weak side. That's just great.
And Freed will smartly rag.
Yeah, Freed has got the ability to control the ball, too. And real good little dip dodger. And, he's quick. I think the Thunder got to go out and put some pressure on this ball and try to double team. And Freed's got the ability to avoid this.
Good job, Freed has used 25 now to give away. 2-on-0. Here comes Tim Welsh. Going all alone. Bilger beats him. Rebound. Hangs his ground. And a crease violation called on Darkangelo. And Bilger saves the bacon again. You will not see anybody more open than Tim Welsh was on that trip.
And hit him right in the face mask with the shot.
Andy Wilson gives it away himself. Scott Gabrielson, the push from the rear, and then Wilson is decked by Hulskamp. And Tucker has some words for Hulskamp.
And while all this is going on, Larry, 3 or 4 Thunder are shooting at Bilger. Down the other end, the ball's still in play. It's loud. It's hard to hear some noise. There's no doubt about that. So the refs aren't going to call it unsportsmanship. But Tucker, I think, told the Thunder that he'll be around here.
And he is playing left defense right now in more of a box set, which gives up that shot by Muir, which goes about 18 rows deep.
Tucker wants the ball.
Again, Mark DeSico still in the penalty box for 8 seconds. So Philadelphia's done a marvelous job killing off this manpower disadvantage. And Gary Martin takes a run at Chuck Muir. They're back to even strength. Shaw to the 5-hole. And here's the quick transition. Tucker 2-on-1. There's Tuck. Back out front. Freed scores. Beauty.
Good job. Good job.
Beauty.
Tucker goes behind instead of taking a dumb shot with no angle. Looks for the open man. Hits Freed. And he puts it away up top. Good job. Here it is. John sees no shot, so he comes behind. Finds his man in the middle. Freed handles it. Good overhand shot in the 5-hole, right between his legs. So as we said, I think we see it gives you a whole perspective of the shooting and goalie play. McClellan saves everything low, and you can score on him high in that first half. Now we see Manis up good high, making shoulder saves, elbow saves, and has trouble down low.
Meantime, Bilger, a picture of consistency down to our left. Philadelphia now a 5-goal lead. If I may use my somewhat amateurish goaltending eyes, it looks like Manos gets himself a little too spread and does not quite have the balance that we've seen from Pfeiffer and some of the other goalkeepers.
Absolutely, you're right.
John Tucker now with 10 assists on the season, has a goal and 3 assists today. And as we've said throughout for our regular viewers, he does all the little things for Philadelphia.
He sure does. He's your point guard, and he's everything.
And it's 11-6. Philadelphia barely challenged here in the second half by Baltimore. And a nice little nifty pass, Kotz to Bilger. Kick starts to Gary Martin. 3-on-1 with Thresh. He'll go long side to score. I believe that's Stevie McGrath that knocked it through.
Nice play, real nice play by Gary Martin. Here he is, coming down, goes all the way across McGrath. He bounces it to the offside. We got a timeout for the Thunder.
John Stewart senses his club is being run out of town as Philadelphia has blown it open. Remember, this was at one point a 5-2 Thunder lead. And Steve McGrath, the King of Prussia native, pops that one to give the Philadelphia Wings a 6-goal lead.
You know, that was a nice play by Gary Martin because he came down the right side, and as we always teach everybody, get the ball to the middle. You do that in basketball, you do that in a fast break in lacrosse. Get the ball to the middle, man. It was a 3-on-2. Martin looked at the middle, and it was Tony Resch, and I'm not picking on Tony Resch, one of my favorite players. But he says to himself, I got Tony Resch, who's a defensive specialist for us, who can handle the ball for sure, but there's McGrath on the far side. He goes across to the far side. McGrath puts it home. So in this case, it works out very well, and maybe just a little bit more heads up than a lot of players would be in that kind of situation.
And Tony, we touched on right at the top the importance of Kevin Bilger to give Philadelphia that world-class goalkeeping, and he has been the picture of consistency.
Boy, he has been just awesome here in the second and third periods. save after save. But I will have to say one other thing, Larry. Some very poor shooting by the Baltimore Thunder. Just
Actually, look at the well she has all day long.
whole thing hits him right in the face. And then puts the rebound into his chest.
Philadelphia has 12 goals today and 11 different goal scorers. Paul French, the only Philadelphian with 2. Everybody else has just the 1. There's Kevin Bilger, seemingly gaining confidence as the season moves along. Splitting time with Vinny Pfeiffer last year, now solidly the number 1. And Shaw and Durgell.
There's a case where Shaw wins it, but the Philadelphia Wings pick the ball up.
And Philadelphia changes some personnel. Delegati not on until after the clean possession. There's Lou at the bottom of your screen, number 77. And French comes on for Durgell. McGeady, ooh, had the pass to Conley. It's 2-on-3.
That was great hustle by Delegati
Really?
to get back and cover the offside player.
Welsh at the top, scores, as it looked like there may have been a little bit too much traffic in front.
That's a real good bounce shot by Welsh, too. He can fire from the outside. And, he puts a real good high bounce, and they're the kind of things that give Kevin Bilger problems. And you're right, it comes off of the screen as another Thunder goes down on the ground.
Yeah, that was Lemon in front of him. I'm not sure if Lemon actually blocked the vision, but he seemed to hit the deck almost simultaneously with the shot taking its bounce, and that's got to be disconcerting to Bilger. And one of the few relatively soft goals Bilger has let in, although the screen. And there's the face-off again. Still a 5-goal lead for Philadelphia, though, with 4 minutes and counting, period number 3. Larry Rose and Tony Seaman live at the Spectrum. Glad you're with us for Major Indoor Lacrosse.
See, Durs will just control that. He put that all the way back to Bilger in the air. He controlled that one so well against Jackson.
And Shaw's been less of a factor since that one penalty for the use of the butt end. A couple of ball screens for Conley leads to not very much. The turning McGeady has slot. And a right elbow save by Mano sliding across. Oh! Looked like French returned the favor to Manos, who stuck his face in French's shoulder a few minutes ago and wound up with a bloody nose as a result.
Yeah, I think Tom Manos is getting beat up.
Jackson and McGeady now in the slot, hacking away at one another. And quickly, look how Bilger picks up the ball and looks right away. Delegati's got Hahn coming off the bench. There's Mark.
Oh, and he got hit after the play.
And Conley's not going to take that.
Conley's not taking that.
That's Manley, rather.
That absolutely should have been called by the referees.
Oh,
That's Big Lou. There it is. Here's the break. Give him the good pass coming off the bench, and then watch him get thrown into the boards. Well after the shot.
Yeah, he took 3 full strides before the action came by Jeff Jackson. Jeff Jackson's only 5'8", 160. Not known as an enforcer for the Thunder, certainly.
Mark's okay. Scoring that goal does a lot of things. It would have hurt a lot more if the Manos had made the save, but it still shouldn't happen.
And that'll be the second assist of the day for the goalkeeper, Kevin Bilger. And when at the very beginning of the play, obviously Evans has told his goalkeeper immediately on possession, get rid of it, because he has kick-started the offense on a number of occasions.
And you know, it's so important to get rid of it to the off-bench side, too, so that you can get your sub coming off on the other side where the defense doesn't notice you. And this is just what happened. Hahn came off on the opposite side from Delgatti with the ball and hit Hahn, and the Thunder never knew he was there.
And again, Durgell wins the draw straight back to Bilger. So you don't have to worry about your wingers. Just go back to your keeper. Gabrielson is wide. Deep rebound. And good hustle by Manley and Gabrielson. And Freed uses his goalkeeper. And now more of a walk it up. With 2:15 in counting, Philadelphia has reestablished a 6-goal lead. Gabrielson hit a kind of a rough spot in the carpet, and looks like he may have hurt his left leg as he's dragging that behind him as the Thunder break out. Good recovery. Oh, and Tucker got one up around the eyeballs from Pat Welsh, and he took the number.
Very interesting. In the preseason game, or down at the last time the Baltimore Thunder and the Wings played each other, Pat Welsh took some very questionable shots at Durgel and a couple other players, but especially Delgatti's knee. And Tucker supposedly told Mr. Welsh that he would have a real serious talk with him here today. So I think maybe we want to look for that now as we go into the fourth quarter. The Tucker-Welsh lineup.
And there's Welsh swinging around the stick with one arm. Looked like he was playing polo for a moment, swiping at the ankles of Andy Wilson. And here's Sewell with good speed, open left wing. But he can't dip through 3 men. And Chris Dent comes out with it. Boom along the boards. Right in front of Philadelphia's bench goes Gary Martin. And again, that is Welsh. And everybody wants a piece of Mr. Welsh.
Yeah, he's not a real popular guy among the Wings. And I think they're going to be looking for number 24 for the whole fourth period once we get into that.
And he's got a brother, Tim Welsh, who wears number 23. And Paul French has told us that when his brother Mike used to get hammered last year, it was up to the younger brother to come to the aid. Of course, now, brother Mike, the general manager of the franchise, who had the closing word at halftime. That, of course, was 2 years ago when Mike and Paul played together.
We're going to have a face-off now. The referees said there was no possession when the violence began to occur. So we'll go with a face-off. And they're throwing Jackson out there again against Durgel.
Last several face-offs, Durgel's gone clean back to his keeper, and he does it again. Although this time, Gary Martin's in great position. Durgel's got a stride. There it is. Durgel. Oh, that's why he's a face-off fan.
That's too bad, because Durgel can play offense.
I'm sure he can, but that one just rolled out of his cage.
Yeah, he switched his hand over from his left to his right.
And again, Bilger, the quick outlet. Scott Durgel will give it up this time for Wilson. Nice left-hand save as Wilson took to the air to get a little bit closer without the crease violation. 20 seconds and counting now. And perhaps time for one quick Thunder rush.
Well, they got to break off the bench.
Norris loses the handle, though. Only 5 seconds. Norris will be at least getting a penalty for his club as Gary Martin wrapped him up around the neck. And it looks like Gary Martin will spend the first 2 minutes of period number 4 in the penalty box. Will step aside. Philadelphia by 6. 1 period remaining live from the Spectrum. And welcome back. This is the last element to be added to the third quarter statistical summary.
I don't like this call. I don't think it's a good call at all. I think Gary Martin makes a real good check. I don't think he holds him at all. The referee's the boss. I usually don't agree with refs, and he wins again. So Gary Martin goes, and we'll start with a 2-minute man down here.
Brad Cott's got it going to start the third period. Then the Holzkamp goal, his first of the season, and that led to a nice Philadelphia run as they expanded their lead to 13-7.
It's a real good quarter for the Wings. They continued right on from where they had been at the end of the second quarter. So,
and Mark Hunt finished it out. There's Gary Martin, had a hat trick, his first game ever in Philadelphia, out of Penn State and King of Prussia. A 1983 All-American at Penn State will spend the first couple of minutes in the penalty box. Of course, the afternoon matinee draws the families.
It sure does. Now we're going to start off, even though it's a man-down situation, because it's the end of the quarter when the penalty was called, it starts off with a face-off. I was a little surprised here to see, with a man-up advantage, that they don't use Shaw for the Thunder to face off, but they're not. They're using Jackson, and he's going to go against Tucker. Tucker's not a bad face-off guy. I can understand why the Wings aren't using Durgel, because they don't want him caught out there if they do lose it and then have to play man down. They want to use their regular 4 people that they always use for man down, and Tucker can face off, but I really wonder why the Thunder aren't using Shaw to face off for them.
And the difference between, say, a Tucker and a Durgill, any real difference in their technique?
Yeah, Durgill's much better. He's just
Okay,
experienced and knows what's going on.
And Philadelphia will retreat down by a man. And it's kind of a diamond set. They put some token pressure at the top. Low shot handled Bilger. Rebound, open space. Bilger left shoulder save, and then comes out with a loose one himself. Baltimore, their second power play opportunity of the day. They're 0 for 1. And all DeSico can do is roll it to center.
Nice job out of the cage by Bilger. Nice job by DeSico to get the ground ball, at least clear it out of there. Stall a few minutes off, a few seconds off.
Again, over 12,000 on hand here at the Spectrum. Philadelphia has mounted a 6-goal lead. They're content to kind of play keep away on the perimeter. Very little movement, Tony, for the Baltimore offensive set.
Yeah, they're just trying to move the ball. And this new set by Dave Evans is given a great pass by Bilger.
Lovely lead to Ricky Freed. Can't run it down to the corner, though. There's still 45 seconds remaining on the penalty to Gary Martin. And Freed seems happy to be worked on by Darkangelo. Gives it up, though. And that's a tough pass for Sweet to have to try to handle. Ducks around a couple of guys. And it's left for Brian Lemon. And that'll go into the net. So a possession for Philadelphia with 21 seconds remaining. Great shot there. The ball just precariously hanging in the balance. Uh-oh, Manos has to commit. And unable to get a full free possession was Brad Kotz.
Tucker back.
And a good sense of balance by John Tucker not to commit to the offensive end. Penalty has now expired. Philadelphia has killed both. The penalty.
They got nobody on the man that expired.
Oh, and Gary Martin lifted his head. Looked like Martin might have taken his eyes off it just a little bit. Nostrand has a left wing Sewell breaking. Norris, the trailer, is Nostrand. What a hit! The shoulder of John Tucker. That is clean as a whistle. So you don't come down the middle with your head down, huh?
I'm not sure you go anywhere with John Tucker around. My God.
There's Conley, who loves that perimeter shot. He'd be a three-point specialist in basketball. And Lou Delegati. French is breaking. But instead it's Sewell with Brian Jenkins. Low shot is well wide of the far pipe. And here's a long board. Give it up to Delegati. Here comes Lou.
Oh, he missed
Caught the top of the pipe. Yeah, it looked like it might have gone over the top.
Made a couple real nice fakes, too. He wanted that one.
Stevie Shaw, way over the top. Sewell anticipates, has the board. His shot hits Shaw in the foot. The rebound recovered off the hands of Conley. And out comes Delegati with Kotz 2-on-1.
Tell you, Lou can run what he has to.
Good head fake, and the elbow pad made, and Delegati is down as he was hit by Shaw. And he's very slow getting up.
He's resting. That was two tough runs in a row here, Larry.
And Shaw and Delegati exchange a little bit of pleasantry as Lou comes over to the bench. Entering your screen now is Scott Gabrielson. Shot clock is at 10.
Somebody's got no stick. One of the defensemen for the Thunder has no stick.
It's Shaw. Oh, there were two without a stick. Yeah. Shaw and Jenkins. Intercepted by Manley. Scotty Gabrielson, the jab step, leaves for Manley. And should Philadelphia be content like this now, up 13-7? We'll hold it out here if you're not going to come.
Absolutely. I think you can use it and then run transition when you really get the breaks and go for it then. And now play it down until 25 seconds.
Oh, a face mask grab by Shaw on Manley. Could have ripped his head off. And Shaw heading to the box. Wow.
There it is. You see him grab him down. It's called first down and 10. It's a tackle.
15 yards.
Yeah.
A little bit of frustration showing.
Yeah, supposedly this is what happened down at Baltimore the last time they met with Steve Shaw.
Of course, you will not help get your club back into a game down by 6, taking penalties like that. Philadelphia 1 out of 2 with the manpower advantage, and here they come again with Wilson, Tucker, Kotz, Delegati, and French.
Spreading them real out wide now. See if we get that motion offense that we had on the second time.
Again, the 45-second clock still runs with the manpower advantage.
Now we're moving around. Delgati's moved into the crease.
And Delegati wants a piece of Jim Holtzkamp. Shot clock at 17. Tucker's shot is wide.
Andy Wilson with a hell of a play there.
Oh, yeah, great save by Wilson. That would have rolled back on Bilger. Shot clock's at 7. Tucker has to get rid of it. Delegati to French.
Nice play by Manos. Really cut down the angle, and French kept taking himself out of the play. You're just not going to have anything to shoot at.
Tucker, Holtzkamp, and Welsh as it's intercepted Andy Wilson. 3-on-1 with Kotz and Delegati. Delegati. And that might have gone off the stick of Brian Jenkins. And out it comes for Welsh. Why not?
Here we come again now. Set it up, reset it. They've had some good opportunities. Angles haven't been real good.
Maybe in a little bit too deep by the time they make that last pass.
I think so. You cut your angle down too much in this game with a 4x4, you're really limiting yourself to what you can shoot at.
I'm surprised though the Baltimore's not coming out and challenging.
Well, you got to stay in, so it makes your slides a lot easier when you're a defensive player.
If you lose by 6 or lose by 7, you know, I don't know. I'm one of those.
You're man up though, so you're man down, so it's really hard. Go out and put pressure on the ball, then you're going to lose somebody up for a real easy shot.
Wilson to Tucker. Again, still a full 40 seconds on the shot clock. Score over the left shoulder by Brad Kotz.
Nice job by Tucker. He drew him. I was surprised Brad didn't step in more, but he did after he got the ball and puts it away.
You see Manos kind of leaning the wrong way as Kotz
the pass
goes near side.
You can see Brad just gets everything into it. There it is, that top corner over top of the left shoulder, goalie's left shoulder. So tough to make a save there.
And that is a power play goal for Philadelphia. They're now 2 out of 3 on the power play. And it's 14-7. Philadelphia up by a touchdown with 8:33 remaining. Violation against Durgel.
Durgel was I was just going to say to you, Durgel's going to win this faceoff. His stick was about 4 inches into the offensive end, the butt end of his stick. He steps that way, so that's a big advantage. You're trying to get your stick underneath the other guys. It's a huge advantage.
Jackson switches hands and fires wide.
It's exactly where the Wings want the Thunder to shoot from. There's no doubt about that.
Sweet, just a little floor rolling pass that Jackson looks for Muir. And Kotz can't control the ground ball for Philadelphia.
That was real nice defense by Kotz, so he knocked his stick on the pass.
Sweet works off a Jackson screen.
Nice check again.
Over the shoulders attempt.
Got a breakout.
By Brian Lemon, and Kotz, intercepted by Jackson as Kotz had a couple of strides. And Coach, how do you keep your club motivated down by 7 with 7 minutes to go?
It's tough right now, and it's tough to get the offensive people who can do the job for you.
Muir. And that's on the back of the cage, I do believe.
I think it's up the goalie's shirt. There it is.
Hidden ball trick, eh?
Muir threw it from behind, hoping he could get a rebound off the goalie's back into the cage, which isn't a bad idea. And instead it went down Bilger's uniform. I have to tell you, Larry Rosen, the first goal I ever scored in college was off the back of the goalie's helmet.
Just the way you planned it, right?
Just the way I planned it. Would have been a perfect feed.
And this game has kind of ground to an imminent halt.
Yeah,
as Philadelphia has it in hand.
I think a lot of air has come out of the Baltimore Tire here in the fourth quarter. The Wings have really done a nice job. They answered some of the cheap shots and have hung in there, and then they've really put the ball on Cage against Manos.
See, and Manos does not quite have the same precision on his outlet passes that we've seen from McClellan and/or Kevin Bilger. That's a major part of the offense, especially down 7.
Yeah, Bilger's been outstanding today on his outlet passes. Really started a lot of breaks. Put a lot of passes right there.
And if our unofficial stats are accurate, only 3 members of the Wings do not have a point today, as they've spread the offense wonderfully inside 6 minutes. And now we're going to have a penalty between McGeady and Nostrand. I think Nostrand's going off. And now McGeady's just going to give it back to him. There they go. McGeady and Nostrand. What a job by the referees.
They got in there. These are 2 little guys, though. The rest can jump in there on these.
Wow. Matt McGeady, the long-haired hippie freak, gets into one.
McGeady's a tough little customer, boy.
He sure is. I think the original penalty was against Nostrand, and then McGeady looked up at the scoreboard and said, hey, I've taken enough. And very rarely was any damage done during these fights with the cages and the gloves. But maybe it fired the crowd back up for the final 5:54. We'll take a timeout, sort out the penalties, come back and close it out in a moment live on Prism. Back live at the Spectrum. Penalties will go to John Nostrand and Matt McGeady. We'll pick them up from Mr. Wise downstairs. So it's a straight 5-minute fighting major. But the right arm was up
Matt McGeady
before McGeady made his move.
And McGeady just had a few words to yell across after that.
John Nostrand, each 5 minutes for fighting.
A reminder, the Jaws 4 scheduled for this time slot will not be seen this afternoon. And we certainly apologize for that for the Shark fans among us. But we've got the Jaws clenched here at the Spectrum as Philadelphia about to triumph for the 3rd time this season. And we'll have Atlantic 10 basketball coming up next on Prism at 4:30. And that'll be the Temple Owls versus the Iron Dukes of Duquesne coming up on Prism at 4:30 this afternoon. And the original penalty seemed to be a delayed call against Nostrand before McGeady made his move. And that young man, Tom Manos, has had a rather difficult second half getting his sea legs.
Yeah, I think the referees are trying to straighten this out now. What happened to the delayed penalty originally. Of course, they had the fight after that. It was funny, Ben Franklin of the Baltimore Thunder, Jimmy D'Arcangelo, was over there telling McGeady, cool down, cool down. It's a ball game here. We're all going to go on and work and live and do everything tomorrow, so calm down a little bit.
Again, 5:54 remaining in the 4th period. And Philadelphia's dominance has been slow and steady. You know, they came out and got down a little bit early on and did not panic. Showed good patience, knowing it was a 60-minute game, Tone.
Absolutely. They've really come back. They've really impressed me here today. They've done some real nice things. As you pointed out, Larry, they've really gotten everybody involved in the offense and in the scoring end. And they've played real good defense, too. And Bilger's been strong ever since the first quarter. Just that 4-minute run in the first quarter, he's been great besides that.
This turns out to be a 3-on-1. Sewell's got Norris and Sherwood. Finally uses Norris. Goodness, winding up that hard from that tight. Got to be freaky for Kevin Bilger, but he holds his ground well. Teams are playing at even strength. And Philadelphia quite content to use this pace.
John Tucker's calming down. Let's go, boys. Here, we'll set up. Let him come try to play us. He's telling everybody spread out.
Again, Philadelphia in command as we approach the 5-minute mark. 14-7. A bad angle bounce shot taken by Mark Hahn, but it does reset the clock. And Manos diving inside, and a crease violation called on Scotty Gabrielson.
Boom.
Oh! Saw that one coming. And Shaw gets a goal. Well, it's been a long, tough day for that man, Steve Shaw, out of Delaware for Bel Air, Maryland. And he finally gets a cherry-picking goal with 4:41 remaining. There he is.
Yeah, it was a real nice pass. He came in off the bench, and it hits Bilger and then trickles in underneath his legs. So they do get the goal, and 4:41 left, 14-8, 6 goals. It's a long way to come.
Thunder goal scored by number 21, Steve Shaw. The assist, great team, Rick Shaw.
And Steve Shaw will go right back out and do some business against Bill Durgill.
And here we go. This is the first time we've seen Shaw face off now in the third or fourth quarter. See Durgill's stick. He had the advantage. See if he gets the ball.
And who kicked that? Is that a Shaw
Shaw
kick?
tried to stop Durgill from sweeping the ball out and got his foot on Durgill's stick, which caused the ball to go back. But Durgill had control of it.
Gotcha. And many in the crowd content that this is a victory for Philadelphia begin the long march out with 4:21 remaining. 6 is perhaps too much to ask for Baltimore at this time. Andy Wilson will move on Brian Jenkins. And again, Gary Martin, the release valve. The no-look pass for Dent, and he's wrapped up high again by Shaw.
Well, he stays in there and hustles, doesn't he?
And Smith comes out with it. Jim Holtzkamp. And everybody working the perimeter as Chuck Muir tries to get in screening position. Jenkins right around Brad Kotz, though, and a right hip save by Kevin Bilger. So calm with possession is Bilger. And here comes Andy Wilson. Left elbow save Manos.
It's a nice save by Manos. That was a gun. He let that one go.
And Brad Kotz, the over-the-shoulder, back to Wilson as they'll reset. Dave Evans, a very confident coach behind the bench these days, has a game plan and has watched it be executed almost flawlessly, at least for the final 3 stanzas. Left wing is French. Durgill. The give and go back to French goes through him. And clear possession, Baltimore inside 3 minutes.
I think once you get against the boards, you want to get that ball out to somebody, even if it's a pass that just moves it on. At least you're not going to lose it or get doubled there.
Chuck Muir again tries that 360 pirouette move. And notice DeSico takes the body and leaves the ball for someone else. And DeSico and Todd Canby go at one another. Of course, if you joined us late, the leading scorer, Butch Marino for the Baltimore Thunder, unable to be here today. Muir got it as he spun away from J.C. Conley and put that one home at the 12:33 mark.
You can't let them continually chip away at you, though. I mean, you've got a 6-goal lead, or a 7-goal lead, then a 6-goal lead, now a 5-goal lead, and there's still 2:27 left. And with the face-off after every goal, there's a possibility of getting back in it.
There's the scorer, Chuck Muir. And there's the game score. 5-goal lead at 2:27. This one kind of grinding down to a slow halt as Philadelphia proved their superiority and dominance through the second and third periods. And a push from the rear by Todd Canby.
How sore is Bill Durgill going to be tomorrow morning? That guy has just had a war. How many times today? 25? About 27 or 28 times out there for face-offs. Look how quick Tucker is.
And he's bigger than Lemon as well and has size, strength, and quickness superiority. Finally, Manley comes over and gives the screen. Tucker, off Freed, gets his own rebound in one motion.
Tucker lined him up. That's Lehman, who's been beating him up.
And Wings doing a real good job of just allowing clock to run. And the game MVP is announced here. Lou Delegati for Philadelphia, an inspirational leader. Could have picked any one of 8 or 9 guys. Tucker, Sturgill, Sewell in front. That probably caught a pipe. Crease violation belongs to Philadelphia. And Norris intercepts the outlet with 1:10 and counting.
Bilger threw to the wrong guy at that time. The guy he picked was right in between the Thunder. And had
Sherwood
his other side wide open. Sorry, Larry.
That's all right. Sherwood trying to go high. Delegati has 4 points today, a goal and 3 assists. Last minute of play as Baltimore is on the back of the cage. And look at Mark Hahn cherry picking, the first man up, but Bilger can't give it to him. And perhaps if this one had ended 14-7, I could have made a major case for Kevin Bilger as our player of the game, but Lou Delegati a crowd favorite. And the crowd begins to rise for the final 30 seconds. Gary Martin stopped by Tom Manos. And of course, 6 days from now, the Spectrum the scene as Detroit comes to town. They are 3-0. Philadelphia seconds away from being 3-1. That a showdown for first place in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Hope you're with us.
And if you think this Baltimore team is physical, from what I hear about Detroit, they bring the big boats in. I think we have interference on Bilger in the goal when he had the ball.
With 6 seconds remaining. A workmanlike effort by Philadelphia.
When you see that small delay and the referee's holding up for some reason or waiting on something, and you see everybody with their hands down on their knees, you know they've played 60 minutes of pretty tough lacrosse.
And that'll do it. Philadelphia has defeated the Thunder of Baltimore 14-9 to improve their record to 3-1 in the Major Indoor Lacrosse League. Handshakes all around, the hugs for Kevin Bilger. Another solid performance from that man. MVP of the day, Lou Delegati, with a goal and 3 assists. Philadelphia dominates through the second and third period, then runs away and hide in period number 4. Over 12,000 watching along with you here on Prism. We'll come back and wrap it up in a moment.